Three black SUVs sit dead on the highway's shoulder like the highway owes them something. Military grade. Blacked out windows. No plates visible from any angle. The kind of convoy that does not ask for permission, does not explain itself, and has never once needed to. One of them, the rear vehicle, leans hard at the back right corner. Wounded. Heavy. Waiting. Cars blow past at 70 miles an hour. Nobody slows down. A white sedan does not slow down. A landscaping truck does not slow down. A woman in a red coat taps her brakes, just for a second, and then presses the gas again like she made a decision she can live with. Then a beat-up pickup truck rolls into the left lane. Slows. The left blinker ticks on, and it pulls over. The door opens. A man steps out. Blue work overalls. Yellow rubber gloves already on his hands. Already reaching into the truck bed before his second foot even hits the gravel. His face. The face of a man who has been carrying something heavy for a long time and long ago stopped waiting for someone to offer to help. He does not announce himself. He does not wait for permission. He walks straight toward the flat tire the way a person walks toward something that simply needs to be fixed. Hey viewers, have you ever stopped to help a complete stranger when everyone else just kept going? Drop your answer in the comments right now, because what this man is about to walk into will make you question everything you thought you knew about who watches over good people. Two men in black suits stand outside the second SUV, phones pressed to their ears. Eyes that move like cameras, scanning everything, registering everything, dismissing most of it. They look through the man in the blue overalls the way you look through a piece of glass. He is not a variable in their equation. One of them flicks his left hand. A small gesture. Almost nothing. The message is clear. Stand down. Let him think he can help. He doesn't matter. The man in the blue overalls sees it. His eyes catch the gesture, hold it for one beat, and then he keeps walking. He kneels on the asphalt. His knees hit the highway shoulder. His yellow gloves find the wheel. And he works. Not rushing, not performing, just working, with the steady hands of someone who has been making broken things whole since before he was old enough to know that some things stay broken. Traffic thunders past. The world does not pause. And then, through the tinted glass of the middle SUV, a curtain shifts. 1 inch. Maybe less. A sliver of shadow behind glass, so dark it should show nothing. But it shows a hand. Expensive cufflinks. Long fingers wrapped around the door handle. Gripping it. Not opening it. Just gripping it. The way a person grips something when every part of them is deciding whether to let go. That same morning, 8 hours earlier, Marcus Devereaux stands in front of an ATM outside a corner store on 4th and Maple, and the screen shows him a number he already knew was coming. $23. He stares at it. His jaw tightens. He does not curse. He does not kick the machine. He presses cancel, puts the card back, and stands in the gray morning air with his hands in his pockets, doing the math he has already done twice in his head on the drive over. $23. His daughter Zuri's school lunch account is at $4. The cafeteria will flag it Monday if it drops below 2. He has watched Zuri try to make a cold cheese sandwich sound like something she chose, something fine, something that did not bother her. She was 8 years old and already trying to protect him from things she should never have to know about. He transfers $19 to her account. $4 left for himself. He drives away without breakfast. He does not tell anyone. There is no one to tell. Marcus Devereaux is 38. He has been a mechanic since he was 16, not because somebody told him to be, but because broken things made sense to him in a way that school never quite did. Engines had logic. People had logic too, only most of them never slowed down long enough to read it. His uncle, Cornelius, a man who said what he meant and meant what he fixed, pulled young Marcus under the hood of a 1994 Oldsmobile and showed him that a man who understands what is wrong can almost always make it right. That was the first thing that ever felt true. Cornelius died at 54. He left Marcus the tools, the knowledge, and a debt that required 3 fresh starts in 3 different cities. Marcus does not resent it. Debt is just inheritance that comes with an invoice. He moved north, built a clientele on the one thing he refused to compromise: honesty. He would not charge for work a car did not need. He would not rush a job to make the next one. Word moved the way good word always moves, slowly, then all at once. He had been holding it together. Barely lately, but holding. Now he drives home on the highway after a Tuesday transmission job, stomach empty, sun low and flat against the windshield. The radio off because silence costs nothing and peace costs less than he has. And then he sees them. 3 shapes on the shoulder. Large. Black. Wrong. One of them leaning at the rear right corner like something inside it is too heavy for the ground beneath it. His foot lifts off the gas. Every reasonable thought he has says the same thing. Those are not your cars. That is not your business. You have $4 and you are going home. His hands already know what they are going to do. They are already reaching for the gloves in the truck bed before the rest of him catches up. He pulls over. He does not yet know that the man watching him from behind that tinted glass has not opened his own door in 3 years. He does not yet know that today is the day that changes. Up close, those SUVs are a different language entirely. Full-size Chevrolet Suburbans. 3 of them. The windows are not just dark. They are absolute, a refusal built into the glass itself. The tires on every vehicle except the flat are a grade Marcus has only ever seen in armored vehicle specs, the kind that are designed to keep rolling even after they should have stopped, the kind that are not supposed to go flat. But this one did. Marcus scans the convoy as he walks toward it, taking in small details the way he always does. Not nervously, just carefully, the habit of a man who has learned that small things tell the full story. No front plates. The rear plates are covered in a precise layer of road dust. The seam lines on the doors are reinforced. These vehicles weigh more than their frame is supposed to carry. There is something inside each of them that is not on any factory spec sheet. The 2 suits are outside the second vehicle. One faces the highway, body turned slightly sideways, right hand loose at his side in a position that is not casual. His eyes track everything, every car that passes, every angle, every variable. He is not relaxed. He is a man doing a precise job in a way that is meant to look like relaxing. The other one is on the phone. His voice is low and clipped. 3 words. Pause. 2 words. Pause. The voice of someone communicating in a code where every syllable has been stripped down to what it has to be and nothing more. Neither of them looks at Marcus when he pulls up. They look through him. Marcus sets his tools on the gravel. Jack. Torque wrench. Lug nut remover. He places them deliberately, in order, the way his uncle Cornelius taught him. Set up right. Work right. He walks toward the rear SUV. The suit facing the road finally looks at him. Really looks. His right hand moves, automatic, trained, toward the inside of his jacket. Marcus meets his eyes. Steady. Unhurried. He keeps walking. The suited man's hand stops. Holds. He turns slightly and says something into his phone, so quietly it disappears into the wind. The flat tire is the back right. Marcus crouches down and examines it. A clean blow, not a slow leak, not road damage. A single catastrophic failure in the sidewall. The vehicle is heavier than standard. The spare is a full-size rear-mounted unit, not a compact. Someone on this team planned for this. He respects that. He positions the jack. Checks the ground. Begins. He says 4 words to the nearer suit. Calm. Flat. No edge to them at all. I need 3 minutes. The suit's hand moves toward his jacket again. Stops when a phone buzzes inside the middle SUV. Someone answers. Listens for exactly 2 seconds. Then says 1 word through the glass, quiet as a verdict. Let him. Marcus kneels on the asphalt and the world goes quiet around him. Not silent. The highway roars. A truck blows past and the air shakes. But inside the work, inside the specific focus of a man who knows exactly what he is doing, there is a quiet that traffic cannot reach. Lug nut 1. Counterclockwise. Off. Lug nut 2. 3. 4. 5. Each one set on the ground in a straight line, in the order they came off, so they go back on in the same order. This is not a procedure. This is a principle. His uncle Cornelius said it once and never had to say it again. How you treat the small things is how you treat everything. The flat tire slides free. Marcus handles it with both hands, sets it to the side, carefully, level, the way you set down something that belongs to a person who cares about it. He notices the custom rim. Matte black, brushed finish, ordered special. He handles it accordingly. The bodyguards have not moved. They stand at 8 feet, close enough to intervene, far enough to watch, and they are tense in the particular way that trained men are tense when a situation does not fit any category they were prepared for. They are trained for threats. They are trained for commands. A man in yellow gloves changing a tire with quiet, total competence does not register as either. And that uncertainty is doing something to them that they do not know how to manage. Marcus does not look at them. He works. The spare goes on. He seats it clean against the hub, threads each lug nut by hand first so the threads catch right, then applies the wrench in a star pattern, top, bottom, left, right, diagonal, to seat the wheel evenly against the hub face. He does not rush this. Rushing this is how a wheel comes off at 60 miles an hour 3 days later and kills whoever is inside. He torques each nut down, checks the seating, pushes the tire firmly with the heel of his hand, checks for play. None. He collects his tools, sets the flat aside, stands up, dusts his knees, left, right, one brisk motion each, pulls the yellow gloves off and tucks them into the back of his belt. He looks at the tire, pats it once. Solid. Done. And then he looks up at the middle SUV, at the exact spot on the glass where, 15 minutes ago, a curtain shifted 1 inch. He looks directly at it, does not perform anything, does not shrink, does not square up, just looks, the way a person looks at something they want to actually see. For seconds. 6. 8. The wind moves across the highway. A passing car throws a shadow that runs across the asphalt and disappears. 10 seconds. The door opens. A man steps out, and the 2 suited bodyguards, men who have not shown any readable emotion in the entire time Marcus has been here, go very, very still. The moment the rear tire blows, that flat pop, that lurch, that hard lean to the right, a man in the middle SUV presses his palm flat against the tinted window. He does not reach for his phone. He does not speak to his driver. He just holds his hand against the glass and stares at the highway shoulder and breathes. His name is Aurelius Damon Ferreira. He is 44 years old. He was born in a neighborhood where the smartest survival skill was learning early who to become invisible around and who to never show fear to. He came to America at 14 with $40 and 3 sentences of working English. He did not come for opportunity. He came because staying would have killed him, and he was not ready to be killed. He is not going to tell you what the years between 14 and 24 looked like. What matters is this. By 30, the people who needed to know his name knew it. By 35, people who had no reason to know it knew it anyway. By 40, his name moved through certain rooms the way a temperature change moves, not announced, not visible, just suddenly felt by everyone in the space. The black SUVs are real. The bodyguards are real. The armor-reinforced doors are real. He has survived 4 attempts on his life. 4. The 5th attempt, the one meant to be the last, did not reach him. It reached his brother instead. Nestor Ferreira, younger by 4 years. A mechanic. A man who laughed before his own jokes were finished, who kept a broken coffee maker because it worked right on Tuesdays, and he said that was enough, who spent his Saturdays teaching neighborhood kids how to check their own oil and told them, with total sincerity, like it was scripture, that a man who can fix things will never go hungry. Today is the 3rd anniversary of the night Nestor died, and through the window of his armored SUV, Aurelius is watching a stranger in blue work overalls kneel on the highway asphalt. And something is happening inside his chest that he has not felt in 3 years. Something he does not have a word for in any of the 4 languages he speaks. Because the man kneels the way Nestor used to kneel. It is not the posture. It is the quality. The complete, unhurried certainty of a person who is exactly where they mean to be, doing exactly what they mean to do, with no performance in it for anyone watching. A man who finds his dignity not in who is looking, but in whether the work gets done right. Aurelius presses his hand harder against the glass. His driver speaks through the partition. Sir, there's a civilian at the rear vehicle. I see him. His lead bodyguard knocks twice on the partition. Should we move him along? Aurelius says nothing for 4 seconds. On the highway, the man in the blue overalls sets the flat aside and reaches for the spare with both hands. Careful, precise, no wasted motion. No, Aurelius says. Then, after a silence that fills the entire vehicle, let him finish. He watches the man stand, watches him pat the tire, watches him look directly at the tinted window, directly at the exact place Aurelius is sitting, without flinching, without squinting, without looking away. And Aurelius Ferreira reaches for the door handle. For the first time in 3 years, he opens his own door, steps onto the asphalt, and the afternoon light hits his face in a way that his bodyguards have never seen it hit his face before, because for the first time in 3 years, he is not behind a glass. He is standing right in front of the one person who has no idea who he is. And somehow, impossibly, that is exactly why he is standing here. The garage door is still locked. 3 years. The padlock has not rusted because someone has been maintaining it. The sign above the door still reads Ferreira Auto in hand-painted letters that lean slightly to the left. The paint has not peeled because someone has been keeping it. The windows are intact. The sidewalk in front is swept clean. This block knows this building is being watched over, even if no one can say exactly by whom. Inside, through the one window where the shade does not quite reach the sill, a shape is visible on the counter. A coffee maker. Old model. Cord slightly worn at the base from years of being unplugged and plugged back in again. Still there. Still on the counter. Not thrown away. 3 years ago, a man named Nestor Ferreira stood inside that garage at 11:20 at night and was not afraid. He had no reason to be afraid. He was not the target. He was never supposed to be the target. He was the younger brother, the loud one, the laughing one, the one who taught a 15-year-old kid named Darius Okonkwo how to check oil on a Saturday afternoon 2 weeks before everything went wrong. Nestor wiped his hands on a shop rag and told Darius something he had probably heard himself once, somewhere, from someone who meant it. A man who can fix things will never go hungry. He said it like it was the simplest truth in the world. Because to Nestor it was. The phone call came at 11:43 that night. Aurelius answered it on the second ring. The voice on the other end was not Nestor's voice. It was calm. Controlled. The kind of calm that is built specifically to cause maximum damage. Aurelius has not spoken about that phone call to anyone. Not to his lawyers. Not to his lieutenants. Not to the priest he stopped seeing 6 months after the funeral. Some information does not get shared. Some information just gets carried every single day. In the place behind the sternum where a person keeps the things they cannot put down and cannot survive looking at directly. What Aurelius did in the hour after that phone call, no one alive will confirm. What happened to the people responsible took 18 months and left no trail that any law enforcement agency in 4 states has been able to fully reconstruct. Nestor was buried on a Tuesday. Aurelius stood at the graveside in a black suit with his hands at his sides and did not cry. Not because he had no grief. Because the grief was so large it had taken up the entire space where a person normally stands, and he was operating on something beneath grief, something older and colder, something that had no name in the language of normal human loss. He locked the garage that night. Paid a man to keep the lights on, the windows clean, the floor swept. Paid him to maintain it the way you maintain a room you are not ready to walk back into. Not a monument. Not a museum. Just held. Open-ended. Waiting for a reason. And now, on a highway shoulder 40 miles from that locked door, Aurelius Ferreira has just stepped out of an armored SUV and is standing 3 feet from a stranger in yellow gloves who has no idea, not one idea, who he is looking at. The stranger looks at him with patient, level eyes. No awe, no fear, no calculation, just the direct, unhurried look of a man who sees a person in front of him and has decided, without making a big deal of it, to treat that person like a person. It is the most disarming thing anyone has done to Aurelius in 3 years. His lead bodyguard, Terrence Booker, steps forward from his position by the second vehicle. 1 step. Controlled. Ready. His eyes are on Marcus the entire time. Aurelius raises one hand, barely, just a lift of 2 fingers, and Terrence stops. Steps back. Folds his hands. The afternoon sun is low and flat. The wind moves across the highway. A semi blows past and rocks the air. Aurelius opens his mouth, and the 3 words he says are not what anyone within earshot expected from the most guarded man in 4 states. They are not a command. They are not a threat. They are not a transaction. They are a question, quiet, direct, almost plain, that lands on Marcus like a hand on his shoulder in a dark room. And Marcus, for the first time since he pulled over, goes completely still. How much? Aurelius asks. That is what he says. 2 words. Flat. Controlled. His hand is already moving toward the inside of his jacket. Not for a weapon, but for something that in his world functions the same way. Money. The fastest, cleanest way to put a wall between himself and whatever is happening in his chest right now. Marcus looks at him. Takes him in the way a mechanic takes in a car. Not rudely, just reading. The suit, hand-tailored, navy blue, the kind that costs more than Marcus makes in 3 months. the tattoos climbing out of the collar onto the neck. The face, strong-lined, composed, handsome in the way that difficult years can sometimes make a face handsome, like pressure on stone. And behind all of it, behind the control and the stillness and the wall of expensive composure, an exhaustion so deep it has settled into the man's eyes like sediment. Marcus has seen that look before. He sees it in his own bathroom mirror some mornings. Nothing, Marcus says. I just saw someone needed help. The silence that follows is not empty. It has weight. It has texture. It is the silence of a man whose entire adult life has been built on the understanding that nothing comes without a price, that generosity is either an angle or a weakness, and that the only honest transaction is one where both sides know exactly what they are getting. Aurelius studies him, the way he studies everything, searching for the seam, the tell, the place where the performance slips and the real thing underneath shows itself. He has done this for 30 years. He is almost never wrong. He finds nothing, not nothing suspicious, just nothing. A man who said a true thing because it was true, and who is now standing on a highway shoulder waiting to see if the conversation is finished. Nobody does something for nothing. Aurelius says it quietly, not as a challenge, as testimony, as the one sentence his life has verified so completely and so consistently that it no longer feels like a belief. It feels like physics. Marcus is quiet for a moment. His eyes move, not away from Aurelius, just slightly inward, the way a person's eyes move when they are about to say something that involves someone they love. My daughter might disagree with you, he says. She says thank you to strangers for holding doors open. Every single time. Means it. Something crosses Aurelius Ferreira's face. It moves through fast, a weather system, in and out, but it moves through completely. His jaw does not tighten. His expression does not harden. For one visible second, the wall comes down. And what is behind it is not power. What is behind it is grief. He reaches into his jacket. His hand comes back not with money, not with a card, but with a small leather notebook, worn soft at the corners from years of being carried. He opens it, writes something in the first language he ever learned, Portuguese, slightly slanted, tears the page along the spine, and holds it out. Marcus takes it. That address, Aurelius says. His voice is level, even, but something underneath it is not entirely level. There's a garage. Was my brother's. Been empty 3 years. He pauses. One beat. If you need a place to work, it's yours. Marcus looks at the paper. A Newark address. A street name he does not recognize. He looks back up. Aurelius is already turning. The bodyguards shift into formation, the quiet, choreographed movement of men resuming a shape they hold around one specific person. The door is open. He is almost inside. Marcus almost calls after him. The question is right there on his tongue. 4 words, 5 maybe, and for a half-second his mouth is open. But Terence Booker has gone very still. And the other 2 suits have gone very still. And the look on Aurelius Ferreira's face, in the fraction of a second before the door closes, is the look of a man who has already crossed a line he did not plan to cross today, who gave something he did not plan to give, who is not sorry, but who is done. The door closes. The convoy pulls back onto the highway. 3 black SUVs, formation intact, back up to speed in under 30 seconds. Marcus stands on the empty shoulder with a torn piece of notebook paper in his hand and the ghost of a conversation still hanging in the air around him. He looks at the address, looks at the highway, looks back at the address. His stomach growls. He has $4. He should go home. He folds the paper carefully and puts it in his chest pocket. He does not go home for another 20 minutes. He sits in the truck on the shoulder and holds the steering wheel with both hands and stares at the road in front of him until his breathing slows down and he can figure out what he is actually feeling. He cannot figure out what he is actually feeling. He drives home anyway. The lights are on. That is the first thing Marcus sees when he pulls up to the address on Saturday morning. And it stops him cold. One hand on the truck door, one foot already on the gravel. He had prepared himself for a locked door. He had spent the entire 40-minute drive here building a version of himself that would be okay with a locked door, with a dead end, with the specific quiet embarrassment of a man who believed something he should not have believed. The lights are on inside. The sign above the door leans slightly to the left. Ferreira Auto. Hand-painted. Not new, but maintained. Somebody has been keeping those letters exactly as they were, not touching them up, not repainting. just preserving the original thing exactly as it was left. Marcus reads the sign twice, gets out of the truck. He pushes the door open and the smell hits him first. Oil, metal, old concrete, and underneath all of it, something he can only describe as time. The smell of a space where a lot of work was done by a person who cared about the work. The equipment is clean. A two-post lift, serviced recently. He can tell by the way the hydraulic arm responds when he tests the switch, smooth and immediate with no catch in it. A full wall of tools organized the way tools are organized by someone who knew exactly where everything went and needed it to stay there. A floor jack in the corner, wiped down. A workbench along the back wall with a light above it that works. A woman sits in the waiting area. 50s, small-framed, wearing a gray cardigan, hands folded in her lap with the patience of someone who has been expecting this for exactly as long as it took. She looks at Marcus when he comes in and does not seem surprised. Her name is Claudette Osei. She was Nestor Ferreira's office manager for 11 years. She managed the books, the scheduling, the suppliers, the customer calls. She knew where every tool in this garage belonged, and she made sure it stayed there. She introduces herself with the directness of a woman who has already decided she likes Marcus even though she just met him, based on information she is not going to explain. She tells him she was asked to come, that she should help however he needs, that there are no contracts, no conditions, no paperwork waiting for a signature. Asked by who? Marcus says. Claudette looks at him steadily. Someone who needed this garage to be a working garage again. That is the complete answer. She does not add to it. He does not push. He walks to the center of the garage floor and stands there. He looks at the lift, the tool wall, the workbench, the light above it. His eyes move to the counter along the side wall, and he stops. The coffee maker, old model. The cord is worn at the base, frayed slightly, from years of being unplugged and plugged back in again. It does not look like a piece of equipment. It looks like something someone could not bring themselves to throw away. It looks like something that was left here on purpose, in the specific way that people leave things in places when the place means something, and taking the thing would mean admitting it was over. Marcus stands in the center of that garage, and his chest does something he was not prepared for. It is not quiet. What happens next? It is not graceful. It is the kind of crying that a man holds behind his sternum for years, not from shame, just from having nowhere safe to put it. And that comes out now, all at once, in the middle of a garage that smells like someone else's life of honest work, in front of a woman who does not look away and does not move and does not say a single word, because she understands that some things need the full space of the room to happen in. When it passes, fully, completely, the way a storm passes, Claudette stands. She walks to the counter. She sets a key down next to the coffee maker, quietly, and walks out through the side door, pulling it almost closed behind her. Marcus wipes his face with the back of his hand. He picks up the key, turns it over. There is a keychain, brass, small, worn smooth on every edge from years of being held. Something is engraved on it, not a name, not a number, a phrase, short, specific, the kind of thing one person says to another in private, in a moment they did not know was being remembered. Marcus reads it. His eyes go still. He reads it a second time. He closes his hand around the keychain and holds it in his fist, and he stands in the middle of Nestor Ferreira's garage for a long time after that, not moving, not speaking, keeping something between himself and the ghost of a man he never met. He does not tell Claudette what it says when she comes back in. He does not tell anyone. 6 weeks later, Zuri Devereaux is at the kitchen table with a fistful of crayons and her tongue poking out of the corner of her mouth, which is the face she makes when something has to be exactly right. She is drawing the sign. Marcus stands in the doorway with a mug of coffee. Real coffee. The good kind. The kind he can afford now. And he watches her. She has laid out 4 different shades of blue before settling on the darkest one. She has drawn the letters twice on a scratch piece of paper to practice the spacing. She is 8 years old, and she is approaching this the way a professional approaches a commission. He does not interrupt her. He drinks his coffee. He watches. She picks up a yellow crayon for the border. Then a red one, for a small wrench icon she inserts in the bottom left corner, which she explains is where the most important detail goes. Marcus does not correct this because she is not wrong. The sign goes up the following Monday. A painter named Victor Adeyemi, Claudette's recommendation, A man who has been doing this for 22 years and has a way of listening to what a job actually requires, takes one look at Zuri's crayon original and says, without hesitation, that his job is not to improve it. His job is to make it last. The hand-drawn letters, slightly imperfect, full of a child's absolute confidence, go up above the garage door in exterior-grade paint that will still be readable in 10 years. Maybe longer. The first customer that week is a woman named Loretta Briggs. She drives a 2009 Civic that she describes as making a sound like something arguing with itself. Marcus fixes it in under an hour, a loose heat shield, 2 minutes of work once he locates it, the rest of the time being the diagnostic. He charges her fairly. She holds his hand with both of hers when she pays, and she tells him that her late husband, Reginald, brought his cars to this garage for 15 years. She says it the way people say things they have been holding for a while and have finally found the right place to put. She says, "I am glad someone is here again." Marcus says thank you. She says she is the one thanking him. The days build on each other. The work returns. The rhythm returns. The specific rhythm of a life that fits, that is the right size for the person living it, that has enough in it to get up for in the morning. Zuri's lunch account stays above $20. Marcus eats breakfast every day. These are small things. To Marcus Devereaux, they are not small at all. They are the whole point. Somewhere across the city, on an upper floor with a view of rooftops, Aurelius Ferreira stands at a window with his hands in his jacket pockets. His lead bodyguard, Terrence Booker, speaks quietly behind him. A brief report, 3 sentences, the relevant information only. Aurelius nods once. He does not turn from the window. His hands, inside his pockets, open. Fingers spread. Then still. 3 weeks after the opening, on a Wednesday morning when Marcus arrives before Claudette, he finds a plain white envelope on the floor just inside the garage door. No name on the front. No return address. No stamp. He opens it. Inside is a single photograph. Black and white. A young man in work clothes, kneeling beside the rear wheel of a car, caught in the middle of laughing at something happening just off to the left of the frame. Something the camera did not catch. Something only the young man could see. He is not posing. He does not know he is being photographed. He is completely, openly, entirely himself. Marcus turns the photograph over. For words, written in a hand he does not recognize, in ink that is dried dark and permanent, in the careful print of someone who wanted every letter to be legible. He fixed beautiful things. Marcus reads it once. He reads it a second time. He folds the photograph carefully along its original crease. He slides it back into the envelope. He puts the envelope in the chest pocket of his work shirt, over his heart, next to the keychain he has carried every single day since Claudette walked out of this garage and left it on the counter for him to find. He does not show it to anyone. He does not explain it to anyone. Some things are not for showing. Some things are only for carrying, quietly, and with care, the way a good mechanic carries the knowledge of every engine he has ever fixed. Not to prove anything, just because knowing it is part of who he is now. The highway is empty now. No convoy. No pickup truck. No 2 men standing on a shoulder in the particular silence of people recognizing something true in each other. Just asphalt stretching in both directions, flat and open, the way highways look in the late afternoon when the traffic has thinned and the light comes in long and low and makes even ordinary road look like it means something. Aurelius Ferreira did not become a good man that day on the shoulder. He knows that. He has never been confused about that. The things he has done do not disappear because of one torn page from a notebook and one empty garage handed to a stranger. He carries what he has done the way he carries everything, without excuses, without performance, without asking anyone to weigh it for him. Some weights are not meant to be resolved. They are meant to be carried honestly, for as long as a person lives, because honesty about a weight is the only thing that keeps it from turning into something worse. Marcus Devereaux did not receive a gift without a shadow on it. He knows where the garage came from. He is not a naive man. He has thought about it on quiet mornings when the garage is not yet open and the coffee is brewing and the light comes through the front window clean and straight, and he has time to sit with things he does not usually sit with. He has thought about it, and he has not resolved it, and he has decided that unresolved things are sometimes the most honest things a person can live with. What happened on that highway shoulder was not salvation. It was not a transaction. It was not a lesson. It was 2 men, both of them exhausted, Both of them carrying more than a body is designed to carry alone, standing in the same light at the same moment and seeing each other clearly, without protection, without performance, for approximately 45 seconds. Aurelius saw a man who still chose other people first, even when the cost was his own hunger. He saw the version of Nestor that the world keeps producing and keeps losing. Men who find their dignity in honest work and give it freely to whoever needs it, without keeping a record. Marcus saw a man whose grief had outgrown every room he had tried to put it in. A man who had been powerful for so long that being seen had become the one thing his power could not purchase. Neither of them saved the other. That is not how this works. But Aurelius opened a door he had kept locked for 3 years. And Marcus walked through it and brought a child's hand-drawn sign and a grandmother's gratitude and the smell of real work done right back into a room that had been holding its breath. And that is a thing that happened. In the quiet of the garage on any given Tuesday morning, with the light through the front window and the hum of the lift and Zuri's sign above the door, Marcus Devereaux does not think about Aurelius Ferreira. He thinks about Cornelius, his uncle. He thinks about Loretta Briggs and her husband Reginald. He thinks about the photograph in his chest pocket and the 4 words on the back of it. He fixed beautiful things. He picks up his wrench. He gets to work. Maybe the most honest thing 2 people can offer each other has nothing to do with what they say or what they give. Maybe it is just this: I saw you. In the middle of the road. In the middle of your life. In the middle of everything you were carrying. I saw you, and I did not look away. And if you have made it to the end of this story, then you already understand what that costs and what it is worth. If this story moved something in you, if it made you think about someone you know who carries too much quietly and gives too much freely, drop their name in the comments right now. Let them know you see them. That is how this keeps going. That is how good things spread, not through the powerful, but through the people willing to pull over when everyone else keeps driving. Subscribe to this channel and turn on your notifications so you do not miss the next story. Every day, we bring you true-to-life stories of ordinary people who do extraordinary things in the moments that nobody is watching. Stories that remind you what people are actually capable of when they decide to show up for each other. Share this story with one person today. One person who needs to hear it. One person who has been kneeling on someone else's highway and has not yet been told that what they do matters. Because it does. It always has.